So how can you go about removing a car repo that's showing up on your credit report? Well, today we're going to be breaking down just that and more. So be sure you stay tuned. A lot of people don't realize that as soon as you drive your brand new car off the lot, it's already lost value. What ends up happening is you end up in a situation where you can't really get rid of it unless you're willing to pour more money into it and pretty much take a loss. Now, where the situation can get even worse is if you have bad credit. Because now instead of you paying a decent interest rate, you're more than likely paying crazy interest rate, if not way above what other people are paying. You might be paying something between 10 to 15% interest, or even as high as 20% interest, right? Close to credit card numbers. And that's not even accounting for the fact that the government has been raising interest rates. So you run into a problem where you won't be able to pay off that car fast enough to get out from underwater on that car. And that's usually what leads to people getting a repo. Now, one thing I will say is a repo is a repo is a repo. And what that means is whether it was voluntary or not, it's still going to show on your credit report as a repossession. A voluntary repossession is valued just as much as an involuntary repossession. Okay, they're both going to be the exact same thing. Now let's talk about how you can actually get it removed. Now you probably had to get gap insurance whenever you bought your car. This is usually used whenever you owe more than your car's value, right? It's literally gap insurance, which means it's supposed to cover the gap that your regular insurance company isn't going to cover if you were to get into a total loss with your car. Now, when your car is repoed, the lender isn't usually going to be reporting the actual correct amount. Now, where this can work out great for you is that whenever your car gets repoed, the lender isn't actually going to be reporting the correct amount more than likely. You see, they usually don't include the actual refund that you're supposed to get from your gap insurance company when you had prepaid. What I mean by that is this. When you have gap insurance, it's literally like regular car insurance. When let's say you go to get car insurance, they're going to have you prepay. Right? So if you say, oh, I'm going to pay monthly, you got to pay at the first of the month to cover that entire month of protection that they're going to give you, right? And gap insurance works the same way. The difference is gap insurance, you pay in full and it's going to cover you for, whatever the term of that car is, right? So with that same logic in mind, if you go to cancel your car insurance in the middle of the period, they got to send you a check and refund you for the difference. And it's the same thing that needs to happen with the gap insurance. They're technically supposed to refund you if your car gets repoed, or basically you no longer have the car, that you're supposed to get a refund on that insurance policy. So what you want to do first is step one, you want to find out who your gap insurance provider is. If you've kept your paperwork, that's great, then it should be listed somewhere in your paperwork. If not, you might want to Google around and see what type of insurance providers are typically used by whatever the dealership is that you went through. Now, once you've actually found the gap insurance company, what you want to do is you want to reach out to them and you want to actually request a refund to your gap insurance. Basically what you want to tell them is, hey, I want a refund. I no longer own the car. So I wanted to, have a refund issued. And this is another key thing. Now, once you've requested a refund from your gap insurance company, they're pretty much going to give you one of two responses. The first response they're going to say is, oh, hey, we've already sent a refund check to your lender. Now, if that's the case, you immediately want to ask them to send you proof. Okay. You want to tell them, hey, can you mail me some proof that shows that you've sent that refund, right? Because what you can do is you can take that letter and be able to use that to get the account removed. Or two, they might tell you that we haven't sent the check out. Okay. Now, if they say that, you want to ask that the check be sent to the auto lender and that you want proof that it was done. So you want them to send the check to the auto lender and then send you proof that they actually sent the check as well. Okay. Guys, do not try to finesse it and have them send you the check. Okay. Because the second you do that, it's pretty much game over because you receive the payment, right? You want the payment to go to the lender because what you want to happen is once the lender gets the payment, he needs to correct the account on your credit report. If he doesn't correct the account on your credit report, then that's something right there that you can dispute. So once you have done that process, right, and you've given it a little bit of time if the check hasn't been sent to the lender yet, you gave time for the lender to receive the checks, right? So like a week or a couple of days, whatever the case may be. Next, what you want to do is you want to go to the debt collector and you want to send them a debt validation letter. Okay. Now I'll link to our free debt validation letter down below so you can check out. But basically, I have a letter that's worked pretty good for me and it's worked good for a lot of our clients. So I typically recommend you basically just use that letter, and that letter is basically going to force them to give you all the information they have regarding your debt. Now they'll have to show you proof of why they can collect on the debt and you know, they'll give you all the paperwork and everything, and you're gonna see somewhere in that information that they more than likely did not account for the gap insurance, which means the amount that you owe is incorrect by whatever amount of the gap insurance refund that you had. So they'll have to show you proof of why they can collect on the debt and how much, how they got to the actual amount that they owed, right? And you're gonna see quickly that the amount's gonna be off or wrong because it won't include the gap insurance. So next, what I would do is I would next go to the credit bureaus to actually verify the debt, right? So I have a letter for that as well. I'm gonna link to it down below. Basically, you're asking the credit bureaus just to verify that everything is showing up 100% accurately and verifiable. Now, they're not gonna do their due diligence, and they're just gonna come back to you and say, hey, yep, everything is showing up correctly. So next, what you need to do is you got to send a rebuttal letter to the credit bureaus, and you're pretty much showing them that the account is inaccurate, right? You're going to say, you're going to show them the responses you got from the debt collectors, right? With the bill, you're going to show them proof of a refund from the gap insurance company. And on top of that, you're also going to show them, give them an explanation of the discrepancy. You're pretty much going to break down the timeline and explain to them how they're incorrect. Now, just you doing that alone, the credit bureaus are not gonna have any choice. They're gonna look at it and say, wow, this dude has proof that we pretty much didn't do our due diligence and we just took the debt collector at his word. So it only makes sense for us to delete the account or remove the account from his credit report instead of us having to go deal with more back and forth. So typically they'll just be more inclined to just delete the account instead of having to, you know, deal with you any further. Now, if they choose not to delete the account, you should be saving all the documentation because you're going to be able to use that information to find a consumer rights attorney to actually help you be able to sue for damages in the future. So that's really the gist of how you take care of collection accounts. Guys, be sure you check out the rest of our credit repair playlist, which is going to be linked down below. It's pretty much going to show you how to deal with all types of issues you need to dispute, whether it's collections, repos, charge-offs, bankruptcies, whatever the case may be. We talk about all that stuff, and you can check it out down in the link below. Okay, also be sure that you get your free verification, and your free debt collector letter is going to be down below as well, and hit that subscribe button, guys. Anyways, I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace.